What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I wasn't planning on making a video today. I'm gonna try and keep this really short, but there's a little bit I want to talk about, an article I want to go through, and I will be putting a link to a video in the description box, because there was some more to this conversation about Tua, and there was a conversation had on a panel on ESPN's First Take, and some things Ryan Clark had to say that I want you guys to hear for yourself and to discuss a little bit more in this situation. And look, I'm just gonna say this. I mean, I just don't think it's gonna work. I just don't think it's gonna work out for him, for Tua in Miami, and I think that it's going to be a very long season for the Dolphins and for Dolphins fans. Anyway, let's just get into this and we'll talk about it as we go. So, let's see. The report: Miami Dolphins are committed to Tua Tagovailoa unless Deshaun Watson becomes available. So, again, just real quick, one side note, and then, we'll get into this more. The Dolphins, the only reason why they weren't big spenders in free agency was because of Deshaun Watson's issues. So to give them credit like they're not that kind of team is stupid, doesn't make sense, and is completely inaccurate. Or that kind of organization. And also, as I've been saying for a while, the Dolphins are clearly in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes if and when, and I think it's probably a little bit more of a matter as to when Deshaun Watson's lawsuits get settled, right? I think that probably that's the highest probability outcome for that situation, and he's definitely not going back to the Texans. And so the Dolphins are, in my mind, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but in my mind and from everything I can see from reports and around, the the NFL and the news and stuff, the Dolphins are at the top of the list. And also because I know how Stephen Ross is. And look, as we get through this, they're gonna, even that headline, right? Miami Dolphins are committed to Tua unless Deshaun Watson becomes available. That doesn't mean that they 100% believe in him then. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd to think that. So, one of the things that I wanted to say in this video is any Dolphins fan who makes the claim that this organization, from Brian Flores all the way up, is 100% sold on Tua as the guy, is fooling themselves, because it is categorically false. It is not true and inaccurate. I don't know what the, actual percentage breakdown would be. I don't know if it's a 50-50, if they're 50-50 on him. I don't know if it's 80-20, what. I don't think it's that high even. I think 50-50 is probably about where it's at. They just, because of the situation, the legal situation with Deshaun Watson, their hands were tied and they didn't get to make the moves that they wanted to make. Anyway, let's get through this. So, amidst the questions about quarterback Tua Tagovailoa's true potential, it looks like the Miami Dolphins are still committed to building around him. I mean, it's just... Anyway, I said enough of that. However, that could change if the Houston Texans' Deshaun Watson becomes available. And you'll get to hear this quote from Dan Graziano yourself if you check out the video clip that will be in the description box. But this is what he said. The Dolphins are committed to Tua and building around him unless Deshaun Watson becomes a possibility again. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Graziano said recently on Get Up, as transcribed by Sportsnaut, there's a quarterback or two out there that could distract them from their commitment to Tua. Okay, that's just some I'm not saying Dan Graziano is intentionally trying to be misleading, but to say that could distract them from Tua, that doesn't make any fucking sense. If you're in on the guy, if you got his back, then you got his fucking back, and you're sold on him, and you're 100% on that trade. You don't get distracted. Okay, so put it like this: for the teams that have Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, right? He doesn't want to be at the team, but the team wants him. Before Deshaun Watson's allegations, they said vehemently that they were not going to trade him, right? And even, through the draft and so on and so forth, up to the draft, etc., right? Until they took Davis Mills. So, you know, Russell Wilson, right? Like, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. None of these teams are looking to trade for Deshaun Watson or, you know, Aaron Rodgers because they already have somebody and they're 100% in on that guy. I mean, so anybody that says, any Dolphins, again, you're fooling yourself. Tagovailoa's rookie season was a mixed bag, but he showed potential at times. Look, I'm not trying to rag on the kid, and look, I'm going to be honest though, especially with the way that things have developed recently, I am actually starting to kind of sour on him a little bit. And look, I've been saying for a while that it's really not the player or the person, but the formula that's being mixed around him. And the situation that he's in. And I think it's going to be more indicative of how the Dolphins destroyed his first couple years than how he destroyed it. However, and the way in which that I am souring a little bit because of the Playbook stuff. Because I didn't know, but in the national championship game or whatever game Omar Kelly was talking, I think it was Omar Kelly, somebody in one of these shows that I watched recently mentioned that he was in the same situation in that game, and he had said to his, you know, offensive coordinator or his head coach or one of those guys, hey, I don't really know the play, but I'm gonna try and make it work anyway. If he has a habit of not knowing his playbook, that's a problem. And if he thought that at Alabama he could get away with not knowing his playbook because he had tons of first rounders on that team at wide receiver, on the offensive line, which is possible. I'm not saying it is, but it's possible. And there is some evidence to this point that would lead in that direction. I'm still kind of, you know, leaning on the give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't like that. Because if that's a habit, well, that's going to be a problem, especially because he just got a brand new playbook. Like, so, you know, and the fact of the matter is he did not have a good season last year. He didn't, especially when you include the fact that he got injured twice, right? But he just didn't. Statistically, it wasn't great. His on the field, on tape performance is not good. People like to be like, oh, but he kept us in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and, you know, he helped us to win that Arizona game. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I'm sorry, he didn't. If you go back, he showed no... look, again, and it's not that I'm not acknowledging that there weren't flashes. And even in those particular games, sure, you got to see a flash here and there. But flashes in the pan don't mean fucking shit if you can't do it consistently. Now, again, that's not all on him because his offensive line's not very good, etc., etc. But he didn't show confidence, obviously didn't know the fucking playbook. He's not very, athletic and mobile to begin with. He's small and injury prone, might not even be able to see over these massive mountains of men that stand in front of him. Right? And so, and then when you add in the fact that, and then because people like to point out, oh, but he was 11-5 in TD interception ratio. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I care because it's an important part of the context and data, but it's not the only thing. I hate when people be like, oh, fucking, he was great and he made amazing decisions. No, when you look at the film, he made a ton, way more bad decisions than he made good decisions. Okay. And the end of the year, I was telling people throughout the season last year that the Dolphins as a team, but also Tua, were getting exceedingly lucky, and that was going to run out, and it did towards the end of the year, right? Especially in that Buffalo game when they actually had to play a really good team. They got fortunate because they got to beat up on good teams like the 49ers when they were decimated by injuries. Even the Bills. In the first Bills game, people like to be like, oh, they kept it close. First of all, Ryan Fitzpatrick was in for that game, and clearly could do way more with the offense than Tua. But additionally, the only reason why even Ryan Fitzpatrick and that offense were able to even move the ball or do anything or keep it close was because Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds weren't in the game because of injuries. And if you look at the tape and if you look at the stats and everything, it shows that he attacked the middle of the field. That was because of the absence of Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano. If those guys were there, that would not have happened. A la the last game of the season when they got destroyed by the Buffalo Bills. Luck is not going to hold up going into this next season. I'm telling you, bro, this shit is going to hit the fan, and Dolphins fans are going to be extremely disappointed and brokenhearted because they put massive, unrealistic expectations on this team based off of aberrational statistical data, right? In other words, the 10-6 fucking record, and Tua went 6-3 and threw 11 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, and the Dolphins had, the top, they had a number 6 overall defense, and top 1 in scoring, and blah blah blah. Okay, but the defense was also garbage in other ways. The fucking offense was garbage, right? The offense got drastically helped out by the defense and special teams, etc., etc., etc. And then when you take in those other things into account, like COVID and injuries and how they affect, that's the thing. People just want to live in their own fantasy worlds. And anytime, facts, data, and truth comes and disrupts that, again, and look, to reiterate one more time, and then I'm going to just finish this. I don't disregard the flashes or some of the good things. Look, I just acknowledged they had the fucking, top-rated scoring defense. But they were also garbage on third downs in a lot of instances. They did have actually overall a pretty decent third down defense. But again, that came through, bad teams that they got, good teams that they got to beat up on because they were decimated like the 49ers. But then there was that stretch of fucking games in the middle towards the back end of the season where they actually played shit teams. They started the year with a top 5 hardest strength of schedule and ended the year with a bottom 5 strength of schedule. Why was that? Because of COVID and injuries. So, anyway, let me just finish this. Talk about, let's see. If and when Watson is made available, he will be sought after by numerous teams. He is coming off a stellar season where he led the NFL in passing yards and put up an impressive 112.4 passer rating. In addition, he's just 25, which means that if the Dolphins are lucky enough to acquire him, they could still build for the future around him. Look, if they do that, and I've said this, as great as Deshaun Watson is as a quarterback, it's still a super shit move because you're still chasing after one supposed key piece. You're still putting way too much fucking bank into the fucking single position of the quarterback, or single position of quarterback, and you're shit at fucking building the rest of the team anyway. So, as was proven last year, no matter how good Deshaun Watson was, if the rest of the fucking team around him is garbage, then it's not gonna fucking matter. So there, if he becomes available and the Dolphins do luckily acquire him, and by the way, it's not gonna be luck. It's gonna be because they offered the most for him. So let's be clear about that too. It's not even close to luck. It's because they were foolish enough to fucking put up a king's ransom. And mark my words, if his fucking legal shit gets settled, they are still going to have to pay a king's ransom. They're still going to have to pay multiple first round picks and also give up Tua. I'm telling you. So it's a disaster. Anyway, and they're not going to win with him either because they don't know how to build a team. For now, Miami's looking to revamp its offense, not just to help Tagovailoa grow as a play caller, but also to incorporate the talents of wide receiver Jalen Waddle, who they're going to get hurt because they play on special teams, who was also selected in the first round of last month's draft. Fabulous. Also, just real quick, when it comes to, I want to mention this, with Malik Hooker and Melvin Ingram, one of the reasons why I don't like older, aging players that are, getting into their twilight. I don't like players with significant injury histories. I don't like players who are going to come with fucking price tags that are above their worth. All of which apply to those guys. But also, because I don't like the fact that this organization and regime loves to take fucking other teams, has-beens, would-be, wannabes, projects, fucking cast-offs, and, former first-round fucking, whether they're busts or not, they either like to take, former first-round busts, like, Robert Nkemdiche, or, Josh Rosen, or, whatever, guys like that, or they target guys that are fucking former first rounders like Melvin Ingram, who are old and fucking have significant injury histories. Stop doing that. You're terrible at fucking evaluating and then developing or, you know, sustaining production from other teams' former first rounders. They're garbage at it. Anyway, that's what I got. That's the article. That's the video. And like I said, I am going to put a link to the ESPN segment where they talked about this. And just real quick, Ryan Clark, because Ryan Clark was the one that really kind of, you know, hammered Tua or whatever. But he talks about how, you know, if you don't know the playbook, you literally came from a program in Alabama where that's what we expect from you, right? We expect that you're able to understand and know and master the playbook. And he talks about how, you know, I thought, being him, Ryan Clark thought that he had a quick trigger, a quick release because he knew the playbook. To be fair, he does have a really quick release. But he was like, but now we're starting to see that, and especially with the way that Mac Jones then, you know, did good things in that offense and so on and so forth, that it's really actually appears to be, by all the evidence, if you really take a fucking look at it, that it was more because of the system and all of the other first round talent that he had around him more than it was Tua himself. So, you know, we'll see how it plays out. But again, I have my evaluation and projections for the season, and then like the rest of the Dolphins fan base has a completely different idea for how this is going to work. I swear to God, man, like the entire fan base has the expectation that Tua has to be an elite quarterback and the Dolphins have to make it to the playoffs at a bare minimum. Those are the two bare minimum, and win 10 plus games. Those are the bare minimums. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And it's going to come crashing down, and everybody, all, you know, it's going to suck for me too. Well, not just as much as everybody else, because I'll be prepared for it. And I'm not going to be heartbroken when they suck, right? And real quick, one more thing. Sorry. You know, Dudley Do-Wrong. I like him. I respect him. I think he's a good dude overall. I think he's wrong, you know, but he says he likes to be prepared for, you know, the worst and would rather be surprised. But he has them, you know, winning 11 games. I mean, if you think that's the worst case scenario, I hate to break it to you, my dude. You're not going to be surprised at the end of the year. You're going to be fucking heartbroken. Look, and going into the... All right, so last comment. The final comment. Going into the season, going into week 1, I am going to leave it, my predictions, at 6-11. Okay? I'm going to leave my predictions there. However, there is a distinct possibility that, especially once injuries start to fucking rack up for this team, that they could be worse than that. There is a very real possibility of that. Like I've been saying now since the beginning of this whole fucking, you know, tank for Tua, blah, blah, blah bullshit. This team has, well, really for the past 2 years, not really the tank year, but for the past 2 years, I've been saying this team has a lot of boom, but also a lot of bust potential. And unfortunately, the arrow points more towards the bust potential when you take in all of the data, all of the context that's important, and not just look at surface level shit like they went 10-6 last year. So buckle up. It's going to be a long year. All right, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.